All right, so Pisces rising, this is going to be your 2022 forecast. And I have my astrology notes here. This is astrology primarily. And then I will pull tarot cards to kind of inform what is going on in the astrology a little bit more. Before I jump in, I did want to mention that I'm offering 2022 readings, personal readings, and transit reports if that's something you're interested in. I highly recommend that because it is specific to your unique chart. So, yeah, definitely recommend that so you can see kind of when things will be taking place for you and what you need to keep in mind for this next year. So, let's go ahead and start it off by talking about the nodes. So, the nodes are shifting signs from Gemini and Sagittarius into Taurus and Scorpio. That means it's going to be, the North Node is going to be shifting into Taurus in your 3rd house, and South Node is going to be shifting into Scorpio in your 9th house. And this is happening on January 18th, and the nodes will be in those signs for a year and a half. And I'm sorry if you guys can hear my stomach growling. I am about to go on a really big road trip, and I don't feel like eating yet, so it's probably going to be growling the whole time, and I just don't care. So, okay, so having the North Node in your 3rd house is interesting in terms of busyness, movement, communication, connection. You guys might find that this is quite a big year for that. And traveling or even learning new things, even aspects of like personal growth might lose momentum this year. Or with the South Node, there can also sometimes be like letting some things go. So you might have to like let go certain beliefs this year. Let's just pull the cards and see kind of like what transpires. So this is going to be for the North Node. And this is for the South Node. Yeah, it's interesting. The 9th house is a lot about expansion and like pushing our boundaries, seeking adventure, trying to grow. All these cards came out, but I have a feeling that these are actually for something else. So I'll lay these out for another. Okay, so as I was saying, the 9th house is about really expanding, pushing the boundaries. But with the South Node there, it's like a contraction a little bit of this. Like maybe taking less risk, maybe putting yourself out there a little bit less. And not so much that you like aren't growing as a person, because obviously we're always growing, we're always expanding. But there are some times, like in some years, in which we are buckling down and doing more of the right thing that we're on the path of. And then there are other years in which a lot is changing and we're really pushing the envelope and really trying to take on new ventures and grow. So like there's years of expansion, there's years of contraction where we're letting things go, and then there's years of like the middle of the grind, the consistency, the maintaining essentially. So I feel like this is a year of maintaining for you in a lot of ways. And that's why I see with the 4 of Pentacles representing the South Node in the 9th house is like, it's not so much about trying to do more, be more, study more, go out there and expand more. It's really more so about you finding a level of stability and security in what you're doing. So it's like putting the energy into existing things, maintaining, exactly like I said before, maintaining your responsibilities and like going all in on those instead of like taking risks on new things. And with the 8 of Swords, I feel like some of you guys might actually have anxiety around this. Like this might actually be something that's a little bit challenging for you, is like being okay with what currently is and not making that mean something that you're not like trying to do more. So like sometimes how do I explain this? Let me actually pull one more card around the 8 of Swords. One more card around the 8 of Swords. Oh. The Justice. I kind of feel like you guys might be scared that if you're not like always pushing the envelope in a way that you might not get your return. Like if you're not like, oh, I'm not taking another course, like I'm not growing enough as a person, I'm not traveling to this place and experiencing all these things and doing all these new ventures, because I'm not doing those things, what if I don't get what I want? You know, it's like there can be anxiety around things not being fair. The ninth house is a lot about having faith and hope as well, that things are just. The ninth house has a lot to do with justice, the ninth and the seventh house, and Jupiter. And so these planets or these energies are, I feel like, having you question what is, like, if things are fair in life and if things are truly just, and having anxiety that they won't work out. So sometimes the south node is where we are, and I just saw 555 on the timer on my camera. And I definitely feel like you guys are maybe like 555 to me is kind of like chaos or change, instability. And I think that you guys are meant to be like finding stability. And so like not always having that change is a good thing. And this year specifically. And then I totally forgot what I was saying about these cards, but I do feel like you guys might be having anxiety with this south node in the ninth, or like a releasing of some of the faith that you typically inherently have. Or like you might question it at times, because Pisces tends to be quite good at surrendering and having faith about their life and about kind of divine intervention in their life. But with the Eight of Swords and the Justice card, I feel like you might be questioning that at times, or like just, again, having anxiety about it, like overthinking it when things are actually going to be fine. And talking about the North Node being in third house, I feel like a lot of you guys are maybe needing to shift your mindset about certain things. So the South Node of the ninth is having us purge certain beliefs, and the North Node of the third is having us create different thoughts to replace them. So maybe not a whole belief system, because I think you're questioning your beliefs, like I'm questioning my faith in a way. But then like with the Hangman here, it's like, how can I trust my efforts? How can I also lean into and trust my logic, trust the data, trust the facts, and also maybe change your viewpoint on that data and on those facts and on what you're hearing and receiving in the tangible world. Because sometimes we can like get data, or we can have things go right and we can see evidence right in front of us, which is really what you're meant to focus on, is like, I see this evidence right in front of me. I see this thing so clearly and I can trust it. Instead of, it's not that you're not meant to have faith. It's just that you might be questioning that a little bit more this year. So it's like, this is your time to look at the evidence and change your perspective on it so that you can trust it. Because sometimes we see that evidence and we take that and make it mean something completely different. Like, oh, I have, like, for example, as an astrologer, like someone bought a reading this week, but that's not enough readings, and that means that I'm not good at this, and that means that I'm going to be struggling, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, someone buying a reading is evidence that what you're doing is working. Or maybe what you're doing isn't working. And so it's like the Hangman is here to help you look at the evidence really clearly and not skew it in one particular direction or another, if that makes sense. And then with the Fool card, I feel like you guys are... This is interesting because it's all about like a new beginning, but it's next to the Hangman. So it feels like you guys are having a new beginning in your mindset, because like the Hangman is all about the mind, with this light around his head like that, glowing, and then hanging upside down. It's like his thoughts can like fall out of his head. And so I feel like you guys are going, like your mind is undergoing this metamorphosis, and you are... With the Fool card, I feel like this is you... The Fool card is funny because the Fool is actually really trusting in the universe and like leaping and taking a risk. But that's kind of what I'm saying you're not doing, or you're struggling with. So I think that the Fool is trying to say that there will be times in which you guys do really have faith and trust and are having new beginnings and jumping into it. There will be times like that, but there will also be times where you're just maintaining and really solidly like holding on to what exists and working hard on that. And so I feel like the Fool card is saying, not that you can't expect the growth at all or expansion at all, but that it's not like the main focus this year. I also feel like the Fool card is saying that you are having like a clear reset in a lot of ways. And it might be in the way that you perceive something or the way that you talk about something or even certain tasks that you do. There can be like some kind of new approach to it or reset in that area. And with the Three of Cups, I feel like you guys do have a lot of potential to like meet a lot of new connections. And I think it's a very social energy to have the North Node in your third house. So you guys have a lot of potential to create lasting foundational relationships that can help you in your life. Because that's what Taurus is about. It's about longevity. So now let's talk about Jupiter and Pisces in your first house. So it's moving out of your 12th house where it was with Saturn. And it's transitioning into Pisces on December 29th, so kind of at the time of this reading. And then it will be there until May. It will dip into Aries for a few months, then come back into Pisces. So primarily in Pisces in your first house. So this is really beautiful for expansion. Even though, this is interesting because I do see like the South Node in the 9th house. It's like Jupiter in the first is kind of going against what I was saying about having South Node in the 9th. So maybe that's why I was like, having the Fool here is saying that it's not all the time that you're going to just be maintaining. Like, I think it's going to oscillate. But there are going to be times when you truly are just maintaining things and you have to be okay with that. And yeah. Okay, but Jupiter in the first kind of gives me that Fool feeling where you do absolutely have opportunities to like learn something new or travel somewhere. Those things I was talking about before, that I was saying that you're not going to do with the South Node in the 9th. With Jupiter in the first, you will do it. So it's going to be, again, a balance of the two. Like sometimes you won't really be focusing on that. Sometimes you will be. And I definitely feel like it's going to bring you guys a lot of potential. So like you guys might start to get really clear. But the way in which you're growing or expanding is with Jupiter in the first is likely less about its typical significations, with the South Node being the 9th, around travel, even though, again, I'm going to say that that's a potential with this Fool card, but I think it's more going to be like local travel. I don't think that you guys are going to be starting a bunch of like new courses or international trips. It's basically what I'm trying to say. The growth that you're having more so, I think, is in level of consciousness. That's because Jupiter is in your sign, it's in your first house, but it's not only in your sign, it's in the sign related to dreams, related to spirituality. It's a sign that Jupiter loves to be in, Pisces. So I think a lot of you will be exploring possibly altered states of consciousness. I think you'll be exploring your dreams. I think you'll be waking up to psychic insights or psychic abilities. And so this Page of Cups to me is saying a lot of this growth is spiritually and internally, where you will start to see things in a completely different way through your third eye. And I think it's going to help significantly help you overcome limitations as well as past difficulties and pains. And with the Two of Cups here, especially, it's going to be very healing for any of you who have had maybe conflict in relationships or have possibly ended relationships. This is going to be very, very healing for you. If that's not it, I feel like regardless, it's helping you overcome personal limitations and helping you become really compassionate and loving and strong within yourself with this Two of Cups. Like you becoming your own soulmate. And with the Eight of Wands after that, I feel like it's going to accelerate your growth. And the Eight of Wands to me is also indicating an additional message of divine timing. That a lot of this that you've been through recently, I feel like you've been doing a lot of work. And with the Eight of Wands, I feel like it's saying it wasn't the right time, but now that Jupiter's in your first house, you are blessed, and now is the right time. You have that opportunity now to have these incredible breakthroughs. But the only thing is, Jupiter in Pisces is leaving Saturn behind. And Saturn is going to be alone in your 12th house. Saturn in the 12th can sometimes bring about a restriction in our faith as well. So having the South Node of the 9th, having Saturn in the 12th, there can be like a lot of doubt in the universe, a lot of doubt in trusting yourself and like the unfolding of things. And I definitely feel like a lot of you guys are working through relationship stuff with all these cards here. I think Saturn sometimes in the 12th house can bring up a lot of our fears and insecurities, especially related to things from the past. And you guys might have had some like false starts with this Page of Pentacles and Knight of Cups, things that seemed like they had a lot of potential. It doesn't just have to be your romantic life. It could be any kind of relationship, or it could be really anything. I just kind of see that there's, I just feel like there's some kind of false start, like something that seemed like it was great and then like didn't really kind of pan out. And with the Moon card, I feel like there was a lot that you couldn't see about that. Like there's a lot that you weren't, and you guys might have this with Saturn being in the 12th, like that might be your experience of things like you thought this romantic relationship was going to work out. You thought this like opportunity was going to work out, and then it doesn't. And it just kind of like woos you and picks you up off your feet. But then in the reality, it's like there's a lot underneath the surface, a lot that you don't see with this Moon card. And it can kind of trigger also shadows in you. It can trigger those negative feelings in you that you're maybe not used to dealing with because of these things maybe not working out like you thought. And the reason I say they're not working out is because Saturn in the 12th can typically be like an ending happening. It's very rarely are we like starting new things with Saturn in the 12th house. Unless we're starting like a new spiritual practice or like something related to 12th house matters. Generally we're ending whatever it's linked to. After this, we have the Lovers. So it does, again, make me feel like with the Knight of Cups and the Lovers, like this could be romantic and a romantic ending with the Five of Swords and Two of Cups. These are romantic endings. It doesn't have to be that, but I think for a lot of you it is. But I think these false starts are the things that don't work out with Saturn in the 12th is helping you go into yourself much deeper and understand your shadows much deeper. And with the Lovers card, come back to union with the self. So it feels just like really powerful. I've been seeing like a lot of self-love this year, especially with Jupiter in your sign, your first house. It's like a lot of self-love, a lot of that. You guys are going to have the sun move in your first house in February and March, and then Venus will be there in April and May. These are your months to have most visibility, most success in relationships, most money. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the easiest year, but it does typically indicate having a lot of potential those months. Did I say year? I meant to say months. I don't even know. I did not sleep last night enough, and then I'm going on a long road trip, so wish me luck. It's snowing outside. It hasn't been snowing really. All right, now we're going to talk about a few more transits. So we're starting off this year with Venus retrograde in Capricorn, hanging out with Pluto right now. It's doing it right now as I'm recording. And it's retrograde until January 29th. And then it's even staying in the sign of Capricorn until March. So we're going to have a long time to process things around relationships and money. This is a really big transit. I've been seeing people break up. I've been seeing financial crises kind of take place. Accidents. Just a lot of change. A lot of disruption and kind of chaos around like self-worth, relationships, and money. And that can kind of be happening all the way until the end of January and not fully even resolved until March. And this is happening in your 11th house of friendships and long-term goals and visions. So you guys might kind of be reevaluating relationships with the Six of Pentacles and the Hermit card and asking yourself if these relationships are actually giving enough to you or if you're giving enough to them. So it's like, where is my effort? And where is this other person's effort? Do they align? Does it show how I feel about them? And does theirs show how they feel about me? Their action. And with the Hermit card, I feel like you're going deep within to look at maybe sometimes why you will attract imbalances in relationships, or maybe why you overgive or undergive. It's like you guys are really examining that and your ability to show up and asking yourself a lot more about those areas of your life. The Six of Pentacles, I think there's also like this message about you examining like the idea of like fairness. I think that's a really big theme for you guys this year. Like, is the universe fair? Is the universe just? And like, do I have complete faith and trust that things work out? And I think you guys are examining that as well. On March 2nd, we're going to have Venus conjunct Mars and Pluto in your 11th house. There's a lot of energy. Mars and Pluto can be quite intense for manifestations. It can give us a lot of drive, obsession, ambition. And with Venus there, it can draw that to a lot of our relationships and our connections, or just even your goals, even things that you just want to do. Oh goodness, I think some of you guys could be experiencing relationship challenges with that, because Mars and Pluto can sometimes bring about a little bit of an aggressive tendency, like people trying to, like clashes of wills, essentially, people like having different beliefs or different like ideas of life, and then just their wills clashing. And I feel like with the Eight of Pentacles, it's telling you that this is something that you are meant to work through or work on. Like, look at all these cards. All of them are challenging. I'm not going to lie. Like, they're all kind of dark. The Clash of Wills with the Five of Wands. The Ten of Swords with the ending. The Tower with another ending or a collapse of something. The Devil card with our self-limitations. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like these are meant to be separate. I'm going to put these over here. So I feel like some of you guys might have relationship issues at the time of March 2nd, where, again, there's a clash of wills. And it might be something work-related, like people that you work with, because of the Eight of Pentacles. It could be friends, because the 11th house is our friends as well. Or maybe it's like you work with someone and your long-term vision about something is like not the same as another person's, and that creates tension. Like your visions are going in different directions, or like your friends have different ideas of how something should be done. And with the Eight of Pentacles, there's like a strong existing foundation or investment into something, into that relationship, into that project, both, whatever it is. It's like there's an investment there, and that can create like a sunk cost bias, where whenever we have a lot of investment already, we don't want to end it because we think about all the time that we lost, and we feel like we just kind of gave up, and it went nowhere essentially. And so the sunk cost bias is this bias where we don't want to end things because of the investment, and so we stick with things that aren't meant to be there anymore, when truly it's actually better to just start over and like let it go. So I do think that you guys might have certain things, like maybe a project or a relationship or a vision that you guys have a lot of investment in, or sunk cost bias, and you realize that something isn't working. There's some kind of conflict or clash of wills or issue with this thing, and then at some point you do realize that you have to end it, or you have to make a change within it, because like it's not quite sustainable the way it is. With the Five of Wands, it's like I'm working on it, I'm putting time into it, and then I reach a roadblock or a bump with this person or with this project or something, and because of that I then have to like change the way I do something. I can't keep going because there's a roadblock. I can't go around the roadblock. I have to go down a different road. I can still go to the same direction, but I have to go down it in a different way, or I can go to a completely different place. So that's kind of dependent on you. But the Ten of Swords is saying don't give in to the sunk cost bias and not make this change, because you will discover when you reach this roadblock that if you try to keep going, that it's not sustainable, and that like you actually are just going to keep re-encountering that roadblock again and again. The next transit on April 4th, we're going to have Venus and Saturn and Mars in the 12th. Saturn and Mars are already about endings. The 12th house is about endings, and Venus is about relationships and money and self-worth. I definitely feel like you guys are going to have endings on that day or around that day because of all these meanings around endings. And it could be endings in relationships or endings in financial situations, or endings in the way that you view yourself in a certain way. But I kind of feel like they're external things. They're not just tangible, like they're tangible. They're not just like energy. With the Tower and the Devil, the Tower to me is telling me that like I feel like something is going to be taken away. Like something that you thought would be there is going to crumble. But the Devil card is really beneficial because I feel like it's going to help you see some things that you've been hiding. So like, for example, let's say that there is a building there, and, or let's say like there's a log like on the ground, and something happens and like the environment destroys the log. The log is no longer there. So what's left underneath is this like rotting soil. There's like all these bugs, there's worms, there's like this earth essentially that's been hidden from view for so long because the log has been sitting there for years. And then finally the log isn't there anymore. The log is obliterated. And everything underneath that was hidden from view comes to light. And that's what I see with this Tower and the Devil is like the Tower is collapsing. So something in your life is falling away, and through it comes the light. And the light is shown onto the darkness within oneself around the ways that we self-sabotage, the ways that we limit ourselves, the ways that we feel like we're stuck when we're not actually stuck. We have the agency and initiative to do something about it, but we feel like we're stuck. So there's a lot of like internal baggage and darkness and issues that are all going to be coming to the light around April 4th when something in your life ends. So this feels like a really transformative, beneficial experience, although it is likely going to be very uncomfortable because it's like, you know, that those bugs that are underneath that log, they all of a sudden have all this light shining on them. That's uncomfortable. They're not used to that. And then they have to learn to adapt to that. So that's something that I feel like you guys are going to go through April 4th. April 13th, you're going to have Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in your first house. This is your day to sit with the divine. This is your day to have visions come to you, to manifest, and to understand like the intimate purpose of everything in your life. It's also a day in which you can attract wonderful experiences with other people. I think people are going to be just gravitating towards you in this really beautiful way. And with the Knight of Pentacles here, I think it's going to help inform you a little bit on your purpose because this is in the first house. So this divine vision and divine connection is helping you understand your own talents with this Magician card, like what you have the potential to reach and manifest through your skills, through your knowledge, what you have inside of you. And it's going to give you a kind of vision about how to implement all of these tools and skills that you have innately to achieve some kind of beautiful result. And with the Lovers, I feel like it's you growing in confidence and love within yourself. It's like I am fully seeing myself for all of my greatness, all the beautiful things that I embody. And because of that, I can manifest more and put this into action and start creating things in this life that I want. Now let's look at April 30th, where we have Venus and Jupiter conjunct in Pisces in the first house. So this is really beautiful for relationships. It's interesting. These two same cards came out that we had for the South Node being in the 9th house. Let me pull one more card because it seems... Okay, two more. Because Jupiter and Venus coming together is always a time in which we feel good. I mean, there's just no way it's not going to feel good. And it's funny to have this anxiety card. I feel like it's saying that this day is when anxiety is going to subside and you will have a clear picture of what you are doing next. Like, you know how this vision came through on April 13th? April 30th is when things start really getting solid with this Emperor card and you feel like you have your structure and plan in place and you start to really grow in confidence. With this Temperance card, I feel like you guys are feeling like you're going with the flow. You are healing some of this anxiety and this worry and you feel like you have a plan. And I definitely think that anything that comes up from the past, like when creating this plan, if anything does come up, it's like healed immediately. It's not like you are creating this plan and then having all these limiting beliefs and being triggered. It's like you're going from this into this. So it's this vision and then like immediate clarity and success, if that makes sense. So I feel like you guys are just kind of feeling really light and confident and solid at this time with Venus and Jupiter in your first house, really solid within yourself. All right, let me clean up these cards, and then I have just 3 more transits, and then I'm going to wrap up with your animal cards. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is Mars and Aries in your second house squaring squaring Pluto in your 11th house. So I definitely feel like you guys are really stoked around this time about some kind of vision that you have. Mars in the second is like, I'm determined to get this dollar bill. Like, I am here to manifest money. I'm here to work my butt off to get this financial stability and success. The square with Pluto in the 11th, there might be this like one track mind, this like vision of success that you are looking for. And this can create an obsessive drive to achieve that vision and to get this financial success. So I feel like you guys are going to be in overdrive with this Nine of Swords, working hard, hustling, moving quickly. And the Four of Wands, I feel like, is this vision. It's like this vision of potential and of success. And the Four of Wands is also a card of celebration. I think that's like the vision, though, is like you see you yourself at the end goal celebrating. You know, it's like you're working hard, you're running towards that, you're literally running after it. But then we also have the Knight of Swords. So there can also be some overthinking, because sometimes like Mars and Pluto, it creates a lot of drive, ambition, and obsession for something. But sometimes having that much ambition is like coming from a place of instability or anxiety, rather than like, I just want this and like this is so fulfilling for me and spiritually aligned. Like, yes, those things can be there, but sometimes like this ambition and drive is coming from a place of lack, or it's coming from our desire to have stability, and we're desiring stability because we feel unstable in some fashion, right? So that might be part of what's going on here. Mars in the second is all about being very driven to find stability financially, within yourself, like that drive towards independence and self-reliance and security. And I think that drive is, again, coming from this feeling of lack, like looking ahead, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money for this thing, or oh my gosh, I'm not where I want to be. Like, let me work really hard. Let me hustle towards this end goal. And sometimes that can produce anxiety or can come from a place of anxiety. It's like kind of like having a lot of energy and being like really wrapped up in some goal or some vision. This is something that I've experienced. It's like really enticing. It's really beautiful. It's really magnetic and attractive to you. But at the same time, it's also like not super healthy. It's like a really strong focus on one thing. And it's, I hope I'm explaining this well, but it's a unified vision. And it's like, I'm going to go all in. But sometimes it's like, well, what if you had balance? Or what if you examine why you feel unstable? Or why do you feel rushed to achieve this financial independence? Like, I mean, that might be an obvious one, but just kind of examining those things a little bit deeper instead of just taking things at face value can be helpful. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is Mars conjunct Uranus and Taurus in your third house, happening on August 1st. This day, Mars and Uranus are also squaring Saturn in your 12th and sextiling Venus and Cancer in your 5th. This is interesting because having Mars and Uranus in the third come together is a really big deal in general, them coming together. But in terms of having like flashes of insight and understanding about something, or like a very inventive idea or a creative solution to help create more of that freedom and balance and independence, like whatever you're looking for. It's like finally having that genius download and taking action on that with Mars, like starting something, ending something, moving towards something. Boom, boom, boom. I have this idea. I'm going for it. But then there's squaring Saturn in the 12th. So it's like, well, questioning oneself. But I also have these options with the 7 of Cups. Like, here's this brilliant insight about something, but then you might be questioning it as well, or you might be having other options on top of that you're considering, or you might have that like flash of insight, but then there's another area of your life that you're questioning. So it's like one area of life you feel clear and stable, and another area of your life you're like, what is going on with this? Like, I actually don't know. That's what the square with Saturn in the 12th is saying. With the 6 of Cups, I feel like it's also saying that the past is coming into your decision-making process. And I feel like it's time to move on from the past. So if something brand new comes in on this day, on August 1st or around then, you have this brand new idea, but you're like, oh, but I don't know because I have this previous commitment and this other thing going on from the past that I've already been doing. And it's like, well, I don't know if I should do this. Like, I have all these options now, like this new thing coming in, this old thing, blah, blah, blah. The 6 of Swords to me is telling me, like, go with the new thing. Mars and Uranus, go with that new breakthrough. Don't let the past hold you down. Don't let the past hold you back. And with the 5 of Cups, I feel like this is also telling you not to focus on like memories from the past or like failures from the past. So some of you guys, it might not be options. It might be like you doubting yourself or lacking clarity, even though you have this brand new thing come in, this genius insight. It's like you question it and you doubt it because you've had things not in the past not work out. And it could be a romantic thing with a sextile with Venus and Cancer in the 5th. Let me pull about what that is. What's the sextile with Venus in the 5th? Could be romantic. Chariot, Wheel of Fortune. This is too many cards. This is way too many cards. Okay, I'm going to put these back. I don't feel called to these. There's too many. So, one card. 9 of Wands. That's not really helpful. Okay, I'm not going to get specific about what it is, but something new is trying to come in for you that feels really juicy. It could be like a romantic connection. It could be a creative vision. It could be just anything like really exciting and new and fun. I feel like it's trying to come in for you, or your relationships are trying to support you, or it's going to bring you joy, some brand new idea. But I feel like you guys are just worried a lot about past events repeating themselves. And this is trying to tell you, like, don't worry. That's really self-imposed limitations. With the 9 of Wands, you're used to the struggle and you are expecting the struggle with the 5 of Cups. But that's just a learned response. That's not actually reality. So you can let go of that past event and you can open up your arms big to this new event or this new idea, because it is going to bring you a ton of joy with that sextile of Venus in the 5th house. Like an unmeasurable amount of joy that you are distrustful of because of this past pain. So don't be distrustful of it. You guys got it. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of transits is the Mars retrograde in Gemini in the 4th house. So this is happening from October 30th till January of 2023. So Mars retrograde is us like not taking as much action, reflecting a little bit more. And with Queen of Cups and Nine of Cups, I feel like this is a really beautiful time where you're kind of wrapping things up. You know, you have the North Node in your 3rd house. I feel like you guys have worked a lot on your mindset, and having this Mars retrograde in the 4th house is having you almost just like come back to yourself, reconnect with yourself. Definitely giving yourself credit for all the work that you have done on your mindset. And I think it's a time for you to get really clear on your intuition about what you want out of life. It feels like kind of a restful period of time where you're not meant to be starting all this new stuff. You're not meant to be taking big risks, but just kind of like being grateful for a lot of the good things in your life. Resting, supporting yourself, nurturing yourself, and getting really, really clear about what brings you lasting and true fulfillment. And then once it goes direct after January 13th in 2023, you can take action on that. And now that you have a super clear idea about what it is that does bring you real fulfillment and how to create that healthy balance in your life, then you can take action on it after that date. So now let's pull the last cards, which is the animal card about how you are starting the year and ending the year. So you are starting the year as... a lot of cards came out for you. You are starting the year as the horse, the mouse, and the lion. So I do think that you guys are starting the year on a complex note, because these are very different energies. I feel like part of you wants to have this kind of like immediate outcome with this horse card. Like you want to feel free. You're chomping at the bit for some kind of like breakthrough or success, maybe in your career, in some aspect of your life. And this horse card is saying like, it's like, I feel an impatience to it. But then with the mouse and the lion, like I feel like you guys are working on something specific, like a long-term goal. And you want it right now. You want to feel free in your life. And like, you can't feel free until you feel like you can't feel free until you reach a certain point. And so it's like this like, I imagine like the horse like pawing at the door to get out, to run, to be free. It's like, I'm ready, let me take off. And having the mouse and the lion surrounding it is saying to me that you oscillate between us being small-minded and worried about all the little things, distrustful that things aren't going to work out, just kind of anxiety, and just kind of feeling like you get the crumbs in life, or like, you know, kind of being pessimistic, like, oh, things aren't working out for me. Am I ever going to get this? Am I ever going to feel free? And kind of like boxing yourself into this really small box in your mind, limiting yourself and like causing more worry. But then other times you have this like really expansive lioness or lion personality where you feel like you can do anything. Like you're on top of the world. You're the king of the jungle. You know, you're looking out into the sunset. You can see, like, you have full control over this domain and over yourself and over your life. And you're like, I'm a master manifestor. I got this. So I really feel like you guys are working on something that is challenging you mentally and giving you these kind of two different personalities, which is more so like a Gemini thing. But we all go through that. We all oscillate. You know, we all feel like... And especially the horse does that too, because the horse is like, I'm so excited for this thing. I can't wait to manifest. I can't wait to have it. It creates that confidence of the lion, like passion, intensity. I want this. I'm getting it. But then the horse is also can't wait, literally. Like, I'm not content with where I am at right now. I feel like I'm about to burst. And that's the mouse mindset of like, but I'm not there yet. Me not being able to wait or be patient is making me realize that I'm not where I want to be, and I'm dissatisfied, I'm unhappy, and I'm getting to this negative mindset about the disparity between what my goal is and where I'm actually at in this moment. How are you ending the year, my beautiful Pisces? How are you ending the year? All right, it says it's a mystery. I'm just kidding. The owl, another group got this one as their ending of the year, I think. So the owl, I think having Jupiter move into your first house is the owl to a T. This is you guys really having a strong intuitive and spiritual connection. I think you guys will step into some new psychic gifts if you don't already have some, or if you do have some, doesn't matter. I definitely feel like you guys are becoming very wise. You're examining a lot of aspects of your soul and of yourself. You're moving through challenging times with lightness and brevity. And I feel like a lot of you guys are quiet and reflective and going deeply within this year, because the owl is kind of doing this solo journey. So I feel like a lot of you guys might feel like that, but it's giving you guys this ability to navigate kind of any situation with a lot of wisdom and a lot of clarity about your divine purpose and your intuition. And I only did this in one other group, but I kind of feel called to pull a Kuan Yin card to wrap up with a message with one of my favorite decks, this Kuan Yin Oracle. This helped me get through a hard breakup many moons ago. Is there anything you want Pisces to hear? Okay, this one fell out. I'm surprised I felt called to read this because I'm really running late for something. So this must be important for you guys. I pulled number 43. Sister Shambhala shows the way. This is weird because the other group that I pulled a card for, this is the one that came out too, along with another one. So that's very interesting that you guys are having similar ones. I can't even remember which reading that was because these videos are so long. Okay. You have many brothers and sisters who are guiding you now. They understand where you are in your divine path and how to successfully navigate all matters of concern so that you can cross the threshold from the old world to the Golden Temple. Your prayers for your purpose to be revealed and to manifest have been heard, as have your prayers for help in all matters, and you shall be shown the way, supported every step of the way. Shambhala is a sacred spiritual place where many highly advanced spiritual beings are said to reside in service to spiritual evolution of humanity. The only difference between these beings and the rest of humanity is the degree to which their will is in alignment with the divine. This oracle brings you a nudge on your path from the Holy Ones, a loving but definite push in a particular direction to fulfill your divine destiny. That's what Jupiter in the first house is like, you guys. It's the divine pushing you to fulfill your destiny. And I just saw 555 on the camera again. That happened in another group. Maybe it was even yours. So yeah, a lot of change, you guys. I feel like a lot of change. Maybe it will feel a little bit destabilizing with that, but it's helping you pursue your purpose and liberate you. You'll feel the guidance for what steps you need to take and when from within your own heart. That's what Jupiter in the first is telling you. You know deep inside. Your intuition is on point this year, you guys. If you ever waver into impatience or confusion, that's what I was talking about, you guys. Like the confusion with the Seven of Cups, the impatience with the Knight of Swords. There is impatience and confusion about you achieving something. Confusion mostly from self-doubt and around like possible options as well. But the impatience is definitely a thing. So that's something that you might need to face with this horse card. If you ever waver into impatience or confusion, come out of your head and listen closely to your heart. You'll know what you need to know and when you need to know it. Trust in the beings that love you unconditionally and trust in yourself. That is also something else I was saying about trust. Trust, faith, hope, optimism. Trust in yourself and trust in the spiritual and the divine. So that's what I'm saying for you guys, Pisces. If this resonates, please like and comment down below and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want an astrology reading that is personalized to you, check out my 2022 readings in the description box below. And I hope you guys have a bomb-ass day. Bye.